Hey folks, welcome to week 15 of User Experience and Interface Design. Can you believe we are in the last full week of the semester? It's been a wild semester, lots of crazy stuff going on, but we've made it to the end. So what are we doing this week and how are the due dates going to work out? Well, let's go over it. All right, so let's take a look at the syllabus. So here we are in week 15. We normally would have met on May 4th, 6th, and 8th. And really the main goal this week is to continue working on the end of Project 2. Specifically, we are going to present a draft version of our site for us to consider. So we'll talk about that in a second. And then the draft you are also going to show to some other people outside of class, friends, family, whoever you can get it to get their feedback on it. So let's take a look at what that means. So by now you are working on your draft of your site, which is building it in Adobe XD here, making a working version of the site, using all your graphics and whatnot that you put together and building it into XD as a working prototype. Now just to go back and take a look at the actual project, remember this is Project 2, your instructional website. We are putting together a 10-step do-it-yourself website to teach us how to do something that you consider yourself an expert at. So if you look at the bottom of the assignment here, of course, make sure that your prototype that you are building adheres to the site size, right? Make sure the minimum width is 1200 pixels and the minimum height, the above the fold size, is 960 pixels. So far, we have turned in all 4 deliverables here, and we are working on our 5th and final deliverable, which is the entire site itself. Obviously, you've been practicing with Adobe XD for a while. You've probably started building your prototype, so hopefully that is going smoothly. And of course, if you get stuck on any of that, be sure to contact me. Now, the completed site, while that is your 5th deliverable, we are actually turning in the completed site twice. We're going to turn it in once as a draft and then once as the final. Let's take a look at the due dates. So if we go over here to Canvas, go down to Assignments, and then we'll take a look at Project 2. So the draft is due on May 4th, right? May 4th is a Monday, Monday morning at 8 a.m. So you want to make sure that that is in this Monday, the 4th, which is the Monday for week 15. This will give us the entire week to review it, give you some feedback. You can user test it again, which we'll talk about in a second. And then based on the feedback you get from me, from your fellow classmates, and from any outside people you show it to, you'll be able to make adjustments and get ready for the final deliverable. Now the final is due on May 13th, which is the following Wednesday, which is Wednesday of week 16. That's when you have to turn in your completed final website. Okay. Now I say feedback from your classmates because all of the remaining assignments in Canvas, I have turned on the peer review section here. So once you guys upload your drafts right here under the Project 2 instructional website draft, you will then be able to go in and see your fellow classmates' drafts and give them some feedback. So the peer review allows you to leave comments for each other's work. So I am going to strongly encourage you to do that. So after the 4th, start checking in on this deliverable and see who has uploaded their draft and take some time and give some people some feedback. I would say to give feedback to a minimum of 2 of your classmates. Of course, if you want to leave comments for more than 2 of your classmates, that's great too. But at least 2 would be nice, and then this way we can each give each other some feedback. Naturally, I am going to critique each and every one of them that comes in and leave you feedback here in Canvas. Notice that there is a rubric attached to the assignment, so not only will I give you feedback, but I will check off the different grading criterias for the assignment, and we've used this rubric before. It's sort of my standard design-based rubric that I use. So be sure to read all of the feedback, look at the rubric, check out what I've said, as well as your peers. Now, I did mention some additional user testing. If you go back to the syllabus here, you'll see that the homework for this week, sometime this week you can start working on this, is to user test your mostly completed site with at least 3 people to measure how well they can complete the tasks by now using the draft version of the site. Now, obviously, we are all staying at home and don't have access to a ton of people. So if people at home want to test it out for you, that's great. But remember, Adobe XD offers the option to publish the site outwards to a link, and then you can share that link with people. So if you just want to publish your draft site and email the link to a couple of friends and have them check it out and just give you some feedback as to how well the site works, that would be great. Now, of course, if you have your draft site, so I have my draft site here. I am working on this here. It's a 10-step how-to site about how to shear a sheep called Why Lamb Why. I know absolutely nothing about shearing a sheep, but I got the steps. So, for example, this is one way of doing it, right? I am doing a page-by-page site as opposed to a scrolling site. I have my steps up here in simple circular links, which is nice and easy. Got my little lamb friend here on the cover. And of course, this takes me right to step 1. Which will then allow me to go on from there. So here we are in step 1. You can see that I have a written description on the left of what you have to do. Notice I made some emphasis on the typography by underlining certain words just to make sure that people are clear on what they're doing. Notice the visual formatting is nice and clean, and I've got these nice illustrations to sort of show what's going on. And then, of course, step 2 and step 3. And so on and so forth. Now, I made a really simple site here. Yours does not need to be super complex. It just needs to be clear and easy to use. Remember, in this class, we are focusing on user experience and interface design. The main goal is to be able to get your audience to get through your steps cleanly and efficiently without any confusion. Simply by using this bubble system here, people can get around real easy. And then, of course, if they need to go back to the home page, they can simply hover over the lamb graphic, and that takes them right back to the home page. All right, so you guys should be getting that draft finished up. Make sure that gets uploaded today so we can do some reviews. Now, moving on, what are we doing from there? So as you start to get your feedback from your site, either from me or your peers or your user testers, then you can start to make any changes that need to be made. Now, of course, if you've done a great job on the site, maybe you won't get a lot of feedback that requires you to make changes, and that's fine. You can just call it done. The next goal, of course, is to get the site completed and ready for upload on the 13th. You'll notice here in week 16 that the finals week stretches from the 11th to the 14th. I'm having everybody turn everything on the 13th because that is the Wednesday, which would be our last actual class meeting were we meeting in person. Okay, so we'll have one more video after this at the beginning of next week just to wrap everything up. But for now, that is the main goal for this week. Also, reminder, a bunch of you have not completed your Codecademy HTML, CSS lessons. If you are doing really well on your site, this would definitely be important because if this does not get turned in, you don't get graded on it. So remember, you have to do the Introduction to HTML lesson and the Learn CSS lesson. Those are the 2 required ones you have to do. And then if you want to do any additional ones, such as these here, you will get extra credit for them. So make sure you get these done. The HTML, CSS handout is in the week 1 folder. So if you haven't got it started with Codecademy, do so. All right, so that is it for this week. I hope everybody is doing well and being safe. Miss seeing you all in person, but soon we will be back together. In the meantime, get cracking, and I'll talk to you soon.